cause of all this corruption in South Africa. I mean, we will not be able to treat a disease whose cause we don't know. I was pondering, and then I thought, just maybe I should put a perspective out there on what I think are the causes of corruption in South Africa. The first cause I think that is causing so much corruption in the country is the moral decay in society. We may talk about how corrupt the comrades are and who is stealing from who and how they have taken PPE money and so all that. I understand all that, but they don't exist in a vacuum. These are civil servants who are fathers, who are brothers, who are mothers, who are neighbors. These are relatives of someone in society. They live in society. So the corruption we see is a microcosm for the moral decay in society. And I think as a society, we need to look at ourselves and say, just maybe somewhere, somehow, we need to change some things about ourselves before we point fingers on who is corrupt and who is not corrupt. Because there are always two sides to a bribe. There's one who gives it and there's one who takes it. Okay? So corruption is a double-edged sword. There is collaboration from civil servants. There's collaboration from the corporate sector, for example. There's collaboration from all other spheres of society. They are not just doing corruption within themselves, they are doing business with society. So the moral decay in the society entirely, for me, is vindictive of what we see about when you talk about corruption in this country. It is the fact that there are not a lot of consequences when people misuse, abuse, or even steal taxpayers' money. We have not seen a lot of consequences. So people know that they will get away with it. That's why they keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. Okay, there will be some investigation here and there, or a commission of inquiry here and there, or we'll hear the Hawks raided a house or here and there and so on. But we've not seen significant consequences legally come hard on people who have been in acts of corruption. I mean, look at the Gupta saga and how far it has gone. Most of all the people that have been implicated as suspects are free. Okay? Look at all sorts of stories. I can give you so many of them. We have not seen any significant consequence come hard on people who have been alleged to have been corrupt. And until we reach that level where people know that if you take the taxpayers' money, you are going to do the time. If you take taxpayers' money, embezzle it, abuse it, misuse it, take it as your own in whatever way that is illegal, that you are going to pay jail time, that your property is going to be impounded and sold, that you are going to be a laughingstock in society, we are not going to see people change. We need to have a serious conversation as a society. Is the political system in the country. For as long as we still have the politics of beneficiation, for as long as we still have the cadre deployment system in the country, corruption will be with us. And I'll tell you why. Because when a cadre helps a comrade, or a comrade helps a comrade, there's an expectation created for payback. So when these people finish helping each other through these elections and through their campaigning and canvassing and so on. As soon as they are then deployed, there's an expectation that comes with that. Okay? So when these expectations are not met, then what normally follows is the tenders behind our backs, is the tenders under our nose. Okay? And so this political tenderpreneuring is the breeding ground of this corruption. I've heard says where people said no, people who are in the state shouldn't do business with the state and all sorts of things. But the underlying problem is the cadre deployment system. It's a problem, and And then another thing I think we need to look at is the salary scale of the public sector. Because while some people in the public sector are paid very, very well and they are very, very secure, there are some that are paid monies that is difficult to even talk about on camera here. And so for as long as you're taking millions of money, of taxpayers' money to hungry people, you are going to tempt people to misuse this money. Because people look at what they get and people look at what they are managing, and the two don't make sense. And so in my view, and I'm not encouraging anyone to be corrupt because of their salary scale, I'm just saying that maybe we need to accept that the temptation then is very high, especially for people who are not getting a lot of money from the system. They are not making a lot of money from the system, and then they are managing so much money. It is their signature, it is their opinion, it is their view that will matter how and where this money will be spent. They are going to find ways to get a cousin, to get an uncle and a girlfriend, to start a CC, to start a PTY, to make sure that that money goes to them so that behind the doors, they access this money. So we honestly need to look at the salaries. Come to you and say, then one of the other reasons, therefore, for the cause of corruption is greed. Some of these people are just naturally greedy. Plain simple. They are greedy. They are in it for themselves. They are selfish. They are like, how much can I take out of the system? And they try by all means, using their advantage, that they're insiders, that they sign off, that they write the tenders, tarot player. And where the two meet is where the corruption is happening. So I think we need to also accept that there are many in the private sector who are making millions out of this entanglement of corruption. Some big companies, some small companies, for as long as we see political involvement of some of these big companies during elections or the struggle or whatever, they will think that they are then entitled to tenders and contracts because they help the comrades or because they have struggle credentials, as we call them. So the private sector is also a matter of concern because there are some that are actively involved in corruption with the public sector. And we must acknowledge it Okay, so when you say corruption and the causes of corruption in South Africa, you must also acknowledge that there has been a political effort, especially in the past, to weaken the law enforcement agencies so that then the comrades who would just walk into corruption are doing it freely so. So the weaknesses and the holding of some, even the closure of some of these law enforcement agencies, I think has been a facilitation to the corruption, because then there's not been capacity to arrest people, there's not been capacity to convict people, there's not been capacity to investigate the corruption. So we're thankful that the president now realizes that, and as he says to Sanef recently, that he's busy trying to capacitate the law enforcement agencies. Mr. President, we are watching and we are waiting for that time when you'll come back to the country and then say, I am now happy the law enforcement agencies are tackling corruption head on because I have capacitated them. We are waiting for that. But we also share in your sentiment to say it is true the past administration tried everything it could to then weaken these law enforcement agencies. And so they had little or almost no capacity to deal sufficiently with the corruption in the country. So we are hopeful that maybe that will change with your time. Thank you so much for watching this video. We are always appreciative of your time to come and watch Kema TV Global. Please subscribe and make sure the bell goes off so that every time there's intriguing, provocative content, you are notified in time. And if you've not applied for your free audiobooks, please do so with the details below. Thank you, and I will see you again in my next video.